gives me a lot of Stefon Diggs vibes, honestly. I love his body control. That is the thing that really stands out to me is he can adjust to any pass. And so for number one, and I'd love to hear your response to this because you have left him off your list entirely.
Wow. Okay. Wait to spill the beans, everybody. Jeez. Go ahead. How's a podcast?
It is, yeah. Sorry about that. It is Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. Sort of like Breece Hall, but actually even more. I have seen a lot of Garrett Wilson. I got to see him in person actually when he was in high school because he did play in Austin at Lake Travis. I saw him play in multiple state championship games, which Lake Travis won. But anyway, so I got to see him play in high school, and because he played at Ohio State, a big name school, I watched plenty of Ohio State games, a lot of film on him, and Garrett Wilson just really stands out to me as the most well-rounded receiver in the class. He gives me a lot of Stefon Diggs vibes, honestly. I love his body control. That is the thing that really stands out to me is he can adjust to any pass. And so I think that no matter what offense he goes to, if he goes to an offense where he has a bad quarterback and he's throwing it behind him, he's throwing it, all these kind of things, his body control is just so elite that if it's on the wrong shoulder, he can make the twist and turn to get to that ball. Has really good speed. He ran a 4.38 40 time at the combine. So he's got really good speed, great route runner. I've seen some people have sort of criticized him because he does this weird sort of jump into some of his routes or into some of his catches. And people are talking about, well, he's going to get lit up in the NFL if he starts doing that. But I don't think it's actually really that big of a concern because, like I said, it's this elite body control that he's able to twist and turn to make catches that other players just simply I don't think are going to make. And so I think that his catch radius is almost, and this isn't like scientifically based, so I don't know what his actual like mathematical catch radius is, but it's almost expanded to be similar to some of these longer wingspan receivers because of the way that he's able to manipulate his body. I love his ability to play outside on the boundary near the sideline. So Garrett Wilson, he is my number one receiver. Like I said, just really feels like the next Stefon Diggs to me.
All right. Do you want me to say my number one, or do you want me to say why Garrett Wilson did make my top five?
Whatever you want to do first.
Keep it relevant in case, we want to cut this up, for editing's sake. So Garrett Wilson didn't make my top five. I just didn't, besides the route running, which I felt I don't think it was the best of the class, but it was pretty good. It was up there. Besides that, I just didn't see much. There weren't many elite traits that I felt about him. And maybe I didn't really note the body control for catching. And once again, this comes down to preference. I didn't see, I know he ran a good 40 time, but I don't think that matches, at least on the field. And I think my main concern would be physicality. If he gets, I saw it a few times in the Nebraska game. When he gets pressed and jammed, it starts getting a little tougher for him, and especially, granted, maybe NFL he may benefit because during the regular season, as far as we know, the pass interference is like candy; they throw it out. But maybe if it's like playoff time or a game where the refs are swallowing their whistles and it's just a physical game, I have concerns about him getting open. And then also with that, like I mentioned, not a lot of elite traits, I feel, especially in regards to speed, agility. So I just feel like there are other guys better with the ball in their hands than Garrett Wilson. That's just how I feel. Obviously, like John mentioned, I could easily be wrong. But yeah, I wasn't too overly impressed with him as I was with everyone else, especially physically, which, I know, like you mentioned, and like others have, sometimes the physical traits they can be great, but they just don't translate. And sometimes it's better to have, the route running and such. So we'll see. But yeah, I felt a lot of it was better than him. So that's why Garrett Wilson did not make my top five. But my number one receiver.
I will say real quick, sorry, just to respond. I do agree with your criticisms. The press coverage against bigger physical corners, which you're going to see at the NFL level. I mean, I think of if he faces a guy like Jalen Ramsey, that's something that he's going to have to get way better at the NFL level. And I do agree he wasn't the best route runner in the class. I think he was definitely near the top. But there was a lot of times that I think he sort of relied on like his physical attributes, his speed, his acceleration, whatever it was, to maybe not have the most technically sound route, but just blow by the guy because he was faster than him. But I, anyway, all the strengths that I mentioned, that's why I had him.